Welcome back to another episode of the Balance Healing Creations podcast. Let's take a moment to settle in. Notice your breath. Notice where your body is supported. You don't need to change anything. Just allow yourself to arrive here in this moment. Today I'm talking about emotional sobriety, and often our human minds will see things like that as a destination. Once when you achieve it, you don't have to think about it again. Once when I get there, I'm good. I'll be good. Once when I get there, I'll be happy. Once when I get there, all will be right. But to be honest, through my lived experience, emotional sobriety is built daily. It's a daily practice. It's a muscle that needs to be exercised every day, every moment. And that's not a bad thing. Honestly, it feels like we're always trying to chase to the finish line, right? That race to the finish line. But what if we could just be happy in the moment? Be in flow in the moment, no matter what is happening outside of us. All that is out of our control. And we can choose to be at peace. We can choose serenity. We can choose joy. We can choose that feeling of freedom. Even if the world around us may not feel that way, we can still have control over our inner being. That peace. Which is funny because today's episode is about surrendering control, which is another layer to emotional sobriety. And the inspiration for today's episode came from a grocery store. So, it wasn't yesterday, but the day before, I was grocery shopping and, I had my list. When you make a list, you kind of scan through the store in your brain, in your mind, of exactly how you're going to go down every aisle, or at least I do. I don't know if anybody else does this, but if you do, let me know in the comments, because then I know I'm not alone. But I had my plan, right? I knew exactly how I was going to navigate through the grocery store. And if anybody has a Market Basket in their area, going to Market Basket on a Sunday is mayhem, right? So I was emotionally preparing for that. I had my favorite, I guess it's like a podcast, but not really. It's just like recordings of lectures. So whatever you would call that, I had that in my ears. And it was keeping me really grounded. So going into the store, yes, I'm grounded. I have my earbuds in. But I still had my plan, right? I knew what I needed. I knew where I needed to go. And I knew which direction, which aisle, all of that jazz, right? But in some instances, I felt resistance. So I kind of tuned into that and I'm like, all right, like go another way. So I did that, and that was me kind of listening to my heart. And that would take me down an aisle where there was nobody, not one person in this aisle in a market basket on a Sunday. Okay? Like, that's not normal, right? But then another thing would happen. I would get an item that I forgot to write on my list that would have required a second trip back to the grocery store. Another thing, too, so like in that moment of realization, I'm like, oh, I should follow my heart, tune into that. Okay, good practice. But then I'm looking at my list and I'm like, no, I need to go down this aisle. But I had already kind of walked past it, right? And then I would force myself to turn around and go down that aisle. And now there is 10 people in this aisle that I had already walked past. And then the aisle didn't even have what I needed. So there was no point for me to go down that aisle anyways. Okay, silly. So now I'm like, all right, this is what it's like. I'm trying to control. I'm trying to control where I'm trying to go. I'm still trying to control the outcome of this grocery trip. But it is nothing, I can't control it. All right, let's tune back into the heart. Let's go back to the heart. And so I started listening to the heart, and I just kind of started allowing myself to be led through the grocery store. And the rest of that trip was really awesome, actually. And I ended up going down aisles with nobody in them, finding all the things I needed and the things that I forgot to write on a list, and things that like my husband or my daughter needed that they didn't tell me about. But just because I felt intuitively led to get there, to go down those aisles. And then when it was time to cash out, I don't know, my eyes locked in with a certain number, but I felt it in my heart. So I just kind of kept walking, and that register was clear. But meanwhile, all the other registers had, I don't know, like 8 to 10 people at each cash register. So it was interesting. It was interesting for me to have that little experiment, right? Like practice, like a practice run. Or like, I'm a licensed esthetician, and when I was in school, we had, days that we would learn from the book, and then we had practical days. So those are days that you would practice on your fellow classmates, and you would take what you learn in the book and then apply it into real life situations. And that's exactly what that grocery trip felt like to me. It felt like a practical class, because I've been listening to the lectures, I've been journaling, I've been doing all these things. I'm always trying to, I don't know, expand my consciousness. I'm always trying to remain open-minded and teachable. And, even what I'm saying could be wrong, but for right now, it's aligned in the moment. So that means it's aligned for right now. And if you're listening to this right now, that means it's aligned for you. And if this message didn't come through to you, that means it's not aligned for you yet. Doesn't mean it won't be. So after leaving the store, I had this realization. because I wanted to take this practical class and also continue it. I wanted to apply it to the rest of my day. With that heightened sense of awareness of when I was in control and when I was in a state of surrender, I was able to really tune in, right? And it gave me this moment of clarity that if I can't learn to trust my inner compass, right, that inner guidance, that space in my heart while grocery shopping, something that mostly every single person does, how am I going to trust it when it comes to bigger decisions, right? So, like, let's go back to aesthetics. If I can't continue to take this and apply it in a practical classroom setting, like something smaller, grocery store, how am I going to be able to pass the state boards? So how am I going to be able to take this and apply it into something bigger, like a relationship, a marriage, career, finances, children, family, buying a home? Because the truth is, the bigger those moments are, it doesn't mean that they require a different skill. They require the same skill, just on a larger scale. That was an aha moment for me. It really, it was like time had stopped around me, like that mind blown moment. I think a lot of us are waiting for the big moments to trust ourselves. We're waiting until we're choosing a career, choosing a partner, making a major life decision. And then suddenly, we expect ourselves to know exactly what to do. The truth is, self-trust is not built in those big moments. It's revealed in those moments, but it's built beforehand. And that's where emotional sobriety comes in for me. Emotional sobriety isn't something I practice only when life gets hard. It's something I practice every day. I'm not practicing it only when I'm triggered or only when I'm upset. I'm practicing it when I'm going to the grocery store, picking out clothes, waking up, eating, when I'm going to bed. It's how I respond when somebody cuts me off in traffic. It's how I respond when something doesn't go according to as I planned. It's how I respond when I feel resistance. And it's how I respond when I feel overwhelmed. It's also how I respond when my body is asking me to slow down. How well am I able to rest? Those moments may seem insignificant for some people, but they're not. And they're very significant for me. They used to be insignificant. 5 years ago, they were very insignificant. Today, those minuscule moments are very powerful. Those are the moments of the practical classroom. That's the moment where the muscle gets strengthened. The more I pay attention, the more I realize that life is constantly giving us opportunities to practice. If we shift our awareness, these moments become the practical classroom, the grocery store, the gas station, the dishes, the laundry, the conversations we have or choose not to have. That one's really important. The moments where we pause instead of reacting, another huge important moment. Those moments matter. Not because they're big or dramatic, but because they're repeated. And eventually those repetitions become habits. And those habits become character. And those choices become the life we are living. Maybe one of the reasons why this realization is so profound for me is because I think for a long time I believed growth would feel bigger. Like once when I get there, everything will be good. More obvious, you know? But lately I've been realizing that some of the biggest shifts in my life have actually happened quietly. They've happened in ordinary moments. Moments nobody else would ever notice. But I notice them. My body notices them. My nervous system notices them. And my relationship with my higher power notices them. Because every time I choose awareness over autopilot, every single time I choose to pause instead of react, every time I choose to listen instead of speak, I'm strengthening that connection. So today I just want to leave you with a question. Where in your life are you already practicing self-trust without realizing it? Maybe it's not a major life decision. Maybe it's something much smaller. Maybe it's the way you move through your rising routine. The way you speak to yourself when you're brushing your hair or washing your face. The way you honor your body's needs. The way you choose peace instead of reactivity. Don't overlook those moments. Those moments matter. And they're building something. And they're strengthening something. And they may be preparing you for decisions that haven't even arrived yet. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm so grateful for you all. I love you all so much. And as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and take gentle care of yourself.